afternoon and welcome to India Today's SoSouth. I am Sara Fazil. What is this one nation, one election? Why is the opposition alarmed? The jury is still out if the snap session of the parliament that is to be held in September is going to see the controversial one nation, one election bill make its entry. The opposition has slammed the Modi government for this headline management. In fact, this news has stolen the thunder of the ambitious national meet of the India Alliance leaders in Mumbai. Friday dawns, and then the government appoints a committee under the leadership of the former President Ramnath Kovind to explore the possibility of one nation, one election. Seems like PM Modi has set the cat among the pigeons. But let me tell you, opposition leaders like Sanjay Raut, leader of the Shiv Sena, has called the one nation, one election an unfair practice.
वन नेशन और वन इलेक्शन ठीक है, लेकिन उससे पहले फेयर इलेक्शन लीजिए. फेयर इलेक्शन हमारा नारा है. नॉट वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, वी वांट फेयर इलेक्शन, जो आज देश में नहीं हो रहा है. और ये फेयर इलेक्शन जो हम मांग रहे हैं, ये टालने के लिए ये वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन का ये फंडा लेकर आए. मुझे लगता है एक षड्यंत्र है चुनाव आगे ढकलने के लिए. ये लोग चुनाव ही नहीं लेना चाहते. रामनाथ कोविंद जी जब राष्ट्रपति थे तो उनके तरफ ध्यान किसी ने दिया नहीं है सरकार ने. अब बेचारे रिटायर हो गए तो उनके ऊपर जिम्मेदारी दी है. ठीक है, देख लेंगे. इंडिया से डरे हुए लोग, ये लोग बौखला गए हैं. डर है, उनके मन में डर है, इसलिए डर दिन एक नया नया फंडा लेकर आते हैं. कल यहाँ हमारी मीटिंग चल रही है, तो मीटिंग के ऊपर से ध्यान हटाने के लिए ये सब लेकर आते हैं.
Congress leader Priyank Kharge called the one nation, one election a distraction tactic by the government.
Firstly, I think calling for an emergency parliament session is just to distract people or get people's attention away from the India Alliance. Number one. The second important thing is that how come all these distractions come only whenever PM Modi's friends are in trouble? And also, if it is about one nation and one election, has the government consulted with the concerned authorities? Have they spoken to Election Commission at length? Have they seen the pros and cons? If they have, where is it? Shouldn't they put it up for public debate, or shouldn't they call up all? Shouldn't they call all the political parties, regional and national parties, for a discussion on the pros and cons of it? It requires constitutional amendments. It requires amendments in the People Representations Act, and more importantly, having the simultaneous elections is a humongous task.
Let me tell you that the opposition from these bites clearly seems alarmed. Now, the concept is simple and the goals are noble. What is this one state, one election? The country saves a lot in resources if they are not going to be in a permanent state of elections and hold simultaneous elections to the Lok Sabha and the state assembly. In fact, it will help in improving the overall efficiency in the administrative setup throughout the country. Because what usually happens when you're holding different elections at state and center is the officials are responsible for the polling duties. Not just this, it will also help to ensure there's a continuity in the policies and programs of the central and state government. Now, during elections, when the model code of conduct is in place, it puts a ban on the launch of new projects for public welfare for that period. The Law Commission also argues that simultaneous elections will boost the voter turnout. But the opposition, they believe that this idea hits out at the root of cooperative federalism and will take the country one step towards a presidential system of governance. It's also an idea that doesn't really tally and go with a lot of regional party leaders who make up for the bulk of the India Alliance. For example, M.K. Stalin will be tied down to Tamil Nadu. Mamta Banerjee will be tied down to West Bengal. Uddhav Thackeray will be tied down to a Maharashtra if the center and the state go to polls at the same time. So from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, local issues will be blurred and then your national issues will take center stage, which means it's a short advantage for the BJP to set the poll agenda, which means whether it's in Srinagar or Sringeri, and this is what the alliance feels. Now, when we look at the angry reactions from the opposition leaders, it seems like simultaneous polls is a new concept. But this also is an exclusive Modi government project, because it's not. Let me take you down history a little bit and explain to you. Simultaneous elections for the state assemblies in Lok Sabha was the norm in India till 1967. It changed when some legislative assemblies were dissolved prematurely in 1968 and 69 and the Lok Sabha in 1970. A decade later, the Election Commission in 1983 proposed to bring back simultaneous elections. In fact, the 1999 Law Commission report also pushed for simultaneous elections. But let me tell you, that was back then, when polity was not used. Ye yahan se lete hain, sir. But that was then. Mostly the times were calmer and polity did not seem to be affected, but that was then. Times were calmer and polity used to be less polarized. Today, the simultaneous polls have only deepened the fissures with no consensus whatsoever in sight. The constitutional road ahead for the government does not seem to be an easy task to hold the simultaneous elections. Because for that, even the Law Commission has said that they will have to at least have 5 constitutional recommendations to hold these elections. The Representation of People Act as well as other parliamentary procedures will have to be amended. And apart from this, the Election Commission expressed that they could still go ahead and hold these elections simultaneously if these constitutional hurdles are negotiated. Now, Ramnath Kovind, who is going to be heading this committee, is expected to speak to a lot of leaders of different political parties to arrive at a consensus to hold the simultaneous polls. But it's a task which is easier said than it's done. And the fact that Kovind himself is a votary of this idea of simultaneous polls makes it an even complicated task. And let me point out to you, so will we see a snap of the simultaneous polls with the preponed Lok Sabha polls? Take a look at this map. Now, this map clearly shows us Mizoram, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Rajasthan are scheduled to go to polls in December 2023, while the Lok Sabha's term ends by May 2024. Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh assemblies are scheduled to go to polls along with Lok Sabha elections. So now we have a very high chance to see a preview of the One Nation, One Election early next year, because we are due for the Lok Sabha along with the 9 state assembly elections which will be held. Which means the drama is high, the excitement is higher, and are you going to be enjoying this? Well, that's for you to tell. That's all for today. I'm Sara Fazil reporting for India Today SoSouth. Do comment below and let us know your views.